A crisis ignites the Arab Spring and its ripple effects. The Arab Spring, a wave of pro-democracy uprisings that swept across the Middle East and North Africa in late 2010, ignited a chain of events that would have profound consequences for Europe. What began as peaceful protests demanding political and economic reforms quickly escalated into violent conflicts, toppling regimes and plunging entire regions into chaos. The fall of long-standing dictators in Tunisia, Egypt and Libya created power vacuums, leading to instability and widespread violence. Armed groups, fueled by sectarian tensions and foreign interference, battled for control, turning once stable countries into war zones. The brutal civil war in Syria, which erupted in 2011, further exacerbated the crisis, displacing millions and sending shockwaves across the region and beyond. These conflicts had a devastating impact on civilian populations. Homes were destroyed, livelihoods were shattered, and millions were forced to flee their homes in search of safety. The United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees estimates that over 60 million people were displaced by conflict and persecution globally in 2015, the highest number since World War II. Exodus, fleeing conflict and seeking refuge. Faced with unimaginable violence, persecution and the collapse of their homelands, millions of people from the Middle East and North Africa made the desperate decision to flee. Driven by a combination of fear, desperation and the hope for a better future, they embarked on perilous journeys, often with little more than the clothes on their backs. Many initially sought refuge in neighboring countries such as Lebanon, Jordan and Turkey, which faced immense strain on their resources as they struggled to cope with the influx of refugees. However, as the conflict dragged on and conditions in these countries deteriorated, many felt compelled to seek safety and opportunity further afield, setting their sights on Europe. The journeys these migrants undertook were often fraught with danger. They braved treacherous land routes, facing extortion, abuse and exploitation at the hands of smugglers and traffickers. Others risked their lives on overcrowded and unseaworthy boats, crossing the Mediterranean Sea in the hope of reaching European shores. Perilous passages, the treacherous journey to Europe. The Mediterranean Sea, once a symbol of trade and cultural exchange, became a graveyard for countless migrants seeking refuge in Europe. The perilous sea journey, often undertaken in flimsy inflatable boats or rickety fishing vessels, claimed thousands of lives. The International Organization for Migration estimates that over 5,000 migrants drowned in the Mediterranean in 2016 alone, making it the deadliest year on record. The risks these migrants were willing to take highlight the desperation of their situations. They fled war, persecution and poverty, willing to endure unimaginable hardships for the chance of a better life. The images of overcrowded boats capsizing, bodies washing ashore, and children drowning shocked the world, exposing the human cost of conflict, displacement, and the failure to provide safe and legal pathways for those seeking protection. The treacherous journey across the Mediterranean was just one leg of a long and arduous journey for many migrants. Those who survived the crossing often faced grueling journeys across Europe, facing hostile border guards, detention centers, and a lack of basic necessities. Many were separated from their families, their dreams of a better life shattered by the harsh realities of their journeys. Section 4: A continent divided, Europe's response to the crisis. The arrival of unprecedented numbers of migrants and refugees tested Europe's values and exposed deep divisions within the continent. While some countries, such as Germany and Sweden, initially welcomed refugees with open arms, others erected fences, tightened border controls, and implemented policies aimed at deterring further arrivals. The lack of a unified European response to the crisis exacerbated tensions between member states. The Dublin Regulation, which stipulates that the country where an asylum seeker first enters the EU is responsible for processing their claim, placed a disproportionate burden on frontline states such as Greece and Italy, which struggled to cope with the influx of arrivals. The crisis fueled the rise of anti-immigrant populist parties across Europe, which capitalized on public anxieties about security, identity, and the economic impact of migration. These parties often scapegoated migrants and refugees, blaming them for a range of societal ills and exploiting the crisis to advance their nationalist agendas. Section 5, A Human Face on the Crisis, Stories of Loss, Resilience and Hope. Behind the statistics and political debates lie the individual stories of loss, resilience and hope that define the human face of the migration crisis. Each migrant carries with them a unique story, a testament to the horrors they have fled and their aspirations for a better future. There are stories of families torn apart by conflict, of children orphaned by war, and of individuals who have lost everything they hold dear. There are stories of perilous journeys undertaken in search of safety, of the kindness of strangers encountered along the way, and of the challenges of starting anew in a foreign land. These stories remind us that behind the labels of migrant or refugee are individuals with dreams, aspirations, and the same inherent dignity and worth as anyone else. They challenge us to look beyond the statistics and see the human faces of those affected by the crisis, fostering empathy, compassion, and a commitment to finding humane and sustainable solutions.